segment on defensiveness for the week. And by the way, I was asked by some special people if I would offer a webinar of some sort, something for those seeking more in-depth help on these individual weekly segments. And the answer is yes. The answer is always yes, as I am a coach and a counselor, a personal development coach to be exact. Currently, I'm taking 2 groups through beginners prophetic training. So, yes, you request it. Me and my team will get it done. One of the ways we meet is by video coaching, and some are just telephone, some prefer video, and some of them are in groups. For example, if we were going to do a group on anger management, I get a lot of requests for that on Psychology Today, for group training on group therapy on anger management. And I'll get about a group of 5, and we'll video in together, and we'll have our workshop for about an hour every week for a few weeks. So here we go for today. Certainly not a day goes by that I don't have to deal with defensiveness of others. And I'm sure this is the same for most of you. We don't always name what is happening to us. We may say something, what would be wise to do would be to say something like, oh, I just realized I was being defensive. Can we start again? There's nothing wrong with doing that. As a matter of fact, it's honorable, it's mature. Or, I'm not sure what just happened here, but you seem to have taken, or I seem to have taken a position in this discussion rather than being open to discussion. Can we start again? Dealing with defensive behavior can be complex, and it's definitely exhausting because it's hard to separate the person from the behavior. That's a whole thesis right there. And as I mentioned earlier, some people's defensiveness is so deeply rooted from childhood in their behavioral patterns that there is little realistic chance they will permanently change. However, there's some helpful strategies that I coach people through, and I've seen great successes that we can use in our segment to deal with our own defensiveness and also that of others. 1, develop self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence. Through self-improvement, counseling, training, or mentoring, explore the causes of your defensive behavior. That's 80% of the work. 20%, what are the triggers that make you feel threatened? Having a better understanding of yourself will not only help you regulate your own behavior, it will give you better insight into the behavior of others as well. It's important because I manage people and I manage a ministry, and it's a blessed, abundantly growing ministry, and I have to know these skills. Thirdly, to reduce the danger, once you identify the threats, the things that are causing your defensive response, work to regulate it. Anytime you feel perceived danger, be moderate in your tone, even temper, even empathize with the concerns. Always be respectful and respond non-defensively to avoid escalating tensions. And number 4, reframe behavior. Rather than label a person's defensive behavior as bad, understand it for what it really is. Defensive. It's not about you. Defensive behavior is more about the person than you. Once you do that, then you can explore why the person is feeling threatened and work to address the threats. One of the reasons we get so frustrated with defensive people is we try to deal with the behavior without addressing the threat that is causing the behavior. The threat is the root. Always get to the root, and then you can cancel fruit. Defensiveness destroys relationships from the inside out. It creates a climate of contention and tension that eventually leads to a loss of trust, alienation, and even separation. The opposite of defensiveness is openness, which creates an atmosphere of freedom and growth and respect and trust and joy. Identifying the root of defensiveness in our relationships and working towards addressing and removing those issues will help improve the overall quality of all of our relationships and the productivity of our teams and our organizations, including our churches. Wouldn't that be great? So it's important for us to get to the root so that we can kill the fruit. Killing fruit, plucking fruit, never stops it from coming back. We have to be root snatchers. As ministers, as mothers, as leaders, as fathers, as sisters, as brothers and sisters keepers, we have to be root snatchers. Be willing to spend time with someone and go to the root to find out, why do you feel threatened? What was the trigger in this particular engagement? Was it my tone? Was it the way I came at you? Was it perceived? Did you hear gossip? Did you know I was coming to you? Get down to the root of what triggered it. And then you can find out where the threat is and why their behavior was to defend, put up their shields, and cancel out any options of sitting at the table and discussing this. Remember, you don't want to take positions in a conversation. You want to be in the position of openness to conversation. You want to make your establishment greater, your organization greater. You want your leadership to be greater. You want your teams to be successful. You want your leadership in your church. You want your church members to grow. That's why God gives us all of these churches everywhere, so that we can grow. We can all grab a harvest and grow. But we cannot grow if we're all defensive towards each other. We're not going to get anywhere. So I hope you can use all the segments that were used on this week to bless and prosper and grow wherever it is that you're going to use it at. I pray for the marriages, that this will teach you how to better engage in your marriage, and even with your children, especially when they start reaching the teenage age and older. The defensiveness comes in because they're sick of hearing you tell them what to do. So I want you to know how to disengage people. What I've learned in ministry, which is an amazing tactic that I thank God for showing me, is how to disarm people. So many of us are walking around with loaded weapons, and it's in our defensiveness, and it comes out of our mouth. If we can learn how to disarm people, we can get the work done. We can get it done in excellence, and we can get it done in joy. Bible talks about how you can make some leaders work hard for them and it will be unprofitable, which doesn't mean you're going to stop profiting. It means he's going to undo the profit that you already have earned and gained over your life. Why live a cursed life when you can live a profitable life? Learning how to disarm people is a major key. I'm learning about industrial organizational psychology, and I absolutely love it. It's going to be one of the thriving areas besides forensic psychology in this 21st century. And in learning industrial organizational psychology, you have to learn how to disarm people. You have to learn the culture of an institution, and you have to learn to remove these dysfunctions that are in the culture of your organization. So I hope that I left you with a good nugget today. If you're interested in learning more, inbox us. We love to hear from you. The email address, the website address, and the phone number will show up at the end of this video. God bless you. I pray you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you prayerfully on Monday morning. Grace and peace.